My name is Emily Harper. I'm 28. On Thursday, March 11th at 9:47 a.m., I was standing in the middle of my third grade classroom holding a phone call from Rosewood Gardens venue telling me my wedding, scheduled for exactly 38 days away, had been canceled per my own request when I had never made any such call. My hands were shaking so badly that little Mia Chen asked if I was okay. I wasn't, because the woman on the phone had just described the person who called to cancel, a woman claiming to be Emily Harper, using details only my mother would know. "I'm sorry, but you called us yourself on Monday at 2:15 p.m., the venue coordinator said, her voice sharp with confusion. "You said the wedding was off. You knew your mother's maiden name for verification. You knew the deposit amount, $4,200. You were very clear." I couldn't breathe. Monday at 2:15 p.m., I had been doing reading assessments with my students. Mrs. Ramirez, the school principal, had observed my class from 1:30 to 3. 22 eight-year-olds could confirm I never left that room. "That wasn't me," I whispered. "Then who?" I hung up, because I already knew. Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now, and what time is it there. Let me take you back 6 years to the last good day I had with my father. I was 22, home for Thanksgiving break from my student teaching semester. Dad and I were in the garage at 6:30 in the morning, sorting through boxes of Christmas decorations before Mom woke up. He handed me a snow globe, the one with the tiny schoolhouse inside, and said, "You're going to be an incredible teacher, Emmy. Don't let anyone shrink you." I held that snow globe up to the light. The glitter swirled like gold dust. "Mom thinks I should have done something more impressive," I said. "She wanted me to be a lawyer." Dad set down the box he was holding. "Your mother measures worth in other people's envy. You measure it in other people's growth. That's the difference between you two, and that's why you'll be happy and she won't." He never said a bad word about her before that morning, and he never got the chance to say another word about anything. He died 4 months later from a pulmonary embolism at 58. The funeral was on a Tuesday. Mom cried beautifully. I knew because people kept telling me how brave she was being. The first betrayal came 3 weeks after we buried him. I was sitting at the kitchen table, sorting through sympathy cards, when Mom walked in holding a stack of mail. She dropped one envelope in front of me. "This came for you," she said. "From the county clerk." I opened it. Property tax statement for Dad's cabin up at Crystal Lake. The place he'd built with his own hands over 5 summers. The place where he'd taught me to fish, to start a fire, to identify constellations. "I'm selling it," Mom said, not asking, telling. "What?" "No. Dad left that to me and your father left everything to me, Emily. I'm his surviving spouse. The will is very clear." She crossed her arms. "And I've already accepted an offer. $127,000. The sale closes in 30 days. My face burned so hot I could feel my pulse in my teeth. "He promised me that cabin." "Promises aren't legal documents." She poured herself coffee, her back to me. "You're 22. You'll get over it. I need the money for retirement." I tried to argue. I called Dad's friend, Uncle Ray, who'd helped build the cabin. He said he'd talk to Mom. He called me back 2 hours later and said, "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Legally, it's hers." The cabin sold on April 30th. I never went inside it again. That summer, I started my first teaching job at Willow Creek Elementary. The pay was $34,800 a year before taxes. I rented a studio apartment for $850 a month on Hawthorne Street. I ate ramen 4 nights a week. I bought my classroom supplies with my own money because the school budget was $140 per teacher per year, and that didn't cover half of what my students needed. But I loved it. My kids were brilliant and weird and exhausting. Marcus brought me dandelions every Monday. Sophia made me a birthday card in October with 17 glitter hearts. I went home every day covered in marker stains and Elmer's glue, and I was happier than I'd ever been. Mom called it wasting my potential. I met Jake Winters at a teacher training conference in September, 2 years after Dad died. He taught fifth grade at a school across town. He had kind eyes and a terrible sense of humor, and he listened when I talked. We dated for 8 months before he proposed on a hiking trail at sunrise with a ring that cost $1,800, exactly what he could afford on a teacher's salary. I called Mom from the trailhead, crying happy tears. "You're engaged," she said. Flat, no inflection. "Yes, Jake is. You barely know him." "I've known him for 8 months, Mom." "That's nothing. You're rushing into this because you're lonely. You've been lonely since your father died. And now you're making a mistake." My stomach dropped. "This isn't a mistake." "We'll see." She hung up. Jake and I set the wedding date for April 17th, a Saturday. Spring in Texas, wildflowers blooming, perfect weather. We booked Rosewood Gardens for $4,200. We put down deposits with the caterer, $2,100, the florist, $890, the photographer, $1,500, the DJ, $750. We sent save the dates to 140 people. We opened a joint savings account and put in $18,000 over 9 months, every spare dollar we had. Mom came to exactly one wedding planning appointment, the dress fitting in January. She sat in the corner of the bridal shop and said, "That makes you look wide through the hips." The consultant's smile froze. I bought the dress anyway. It cost $1,340. Then March 11th happened. The venue cancellation call. I sat through the rest of my school day in a fog, teaching fractions and spelling words on autopilot. At 3:30 p.m., I called the caterer. Cancelled, they said. Someone named Emily Harper called on March 8th at 11 a.m. and cancelled. Knew the menu, knew the guest count. I called the florist. Cancelled March 9th at 4:45 p.m. Photographer. Cancelled March 10th at 9:20 a.m. DJ. Cancelled March 10th at 2 p.m. Every single vendor. All within a 72-hour window. All by someone claiming to be me. I sat in my car in the school parking lot until 5:15 p.m., shaking. Then I drove to Mom's house. She was in the living room, watching Jeopardy. She didn't look up when I walked in. "Someone canceled all my wedding vendors," I said. "That's unfortunate." She took a sip of wine. "It was you." Now she looked at me. Her face was perfectly calm. "Why would I do that?" "Because you don't want me to marry Jake." "I don't want you to make a fool of yourself, Emily. There's a difference." She set down her wine glass. "But I didn't cancel anything. If your vendors dropped you, maybe you should ask yourself why. Maybe they sensed what I've been telling you. You're not ready for this." "They didn't drop me. Someone impersonated me." "Are you hearing yourself?" She laughed, but it wasn't kind. "You sound paranoid. Honestly, sweetheart, you've been under so much stress. Maybe you're forgetting things. Maybe you called them yourself during one of your episodes." Episodes. The word landed like a slap. I don't have episodes. You've always been fragile, Emily. Ever since your father died, the crying spells, the insomnia. Your Aunt Linda noticed it at Christmas. She asked me if you were okay. Mom stood up, smoothed her blouse. "I'm worried about you. Maybe postponing the wedding is a blessing. Get yourself stable first." My throat was so dry I could barely swallow. "I'm not fragile. And I didn't cancel anything." "Then who did?" Her eyes were ice cold. "Do you have proof? Recordings? Witnesses?" I didn't. Not yet. "That's what I thought." She picked up her wine glass again. "Go home, Emily. Get some rest. You look unwell." I left. But I didn't go home. I went to Jake's apartment and told him everything. He believed me instantly. We stayed up until 2 a.m. calling vendors, trying to rebook, trying to salvage something. Most were already booked for April 17th. The ones who weren't wanted new deposits we couldn't afford. Our savings account had the $18,000, but that was supposed to cover the balances, not new deposits. "We'll figure it out," Jake said. His jaw was tight. "We'll elope if we have to." "I don't want to elope. I want my wedding." I was crying now. "I want my dad to walk me down the aisle, but he's dead, and now my mom is—" I couldn't finish. Because what was she doing? Sabotaging me? For what reason? Jake held me until I fell asleep on his couch. The rumors started 3 days later. I was in the teacher's lounge on March 14th during lunch when Mrs. Thompson from 4th grade pulled me aside. "Hey, I heard about the wedding postponement," she said, her voice low. "Are you doing okay? I mean, health-wise?" I froze. "What?" I just... Someone mentioned you were dealing with some anxiety issues. I wanted to check in. You know you can always talk to me. Who told you that? She looked uncomfortable. I think it came from your mom? Through the church phone tree. But if it's not true, I'm sorry for... It's not true. My hands were shaking. There's nothing wrong with me. But the damage was done. By the end of the week, I'd had 4 colleagues ask if I was feeling better. One of Jake's coworkers told him she'd heard I was having a breakdown, and maybe the wedding stress was too much. Jake's mother called him and asked very gently if I was getting help. I called Uncle Ray. He was my dad's younger brother, a contractor who'd never married, never had kids, but always treated me like I mattered. "Emmy," he said when he heard my voice, "I've been meaning to call you. Your mom told me you canceled the wedding, said you needed time to work on yourself." She's lying. I was in my car, parked outside the grocery store, gripping the steering wheel. "She canceled everything, Ray. She impersonated me and destroyed my wedding, and now she's telling people I'm mentally unstable so no one will believe me when I say it was her." Silence on the other end. Then, "That's a serious accusation." "I know it is. Do you have proof?" "I'm working on it." More silence. "Your mom's been through a lot since your dad passed. She's grieving. Sometimes grief makes people act out in ways—" "Don't," my voice cracked. "Don't make excuses for her." "I'm not. I'm just saying maybe there's been a misunderstanding." I hung up. He called back twice. I didn't answer. Jake and I spent every evening for the next 2 weeks trying to piece together a backup plan. His aunt owned a small ranch outside of town, Bluebonnet Grove, 40 acres of wildflowers and oak trees. She offered to let us use it for free. We called it our backup venue. We contacted new vendors, cheaper ones. A barbecue caterer who could do brisket and sides for $1,850. A friend of Jake's who DJ'd on weekends for $400. His cousin who was a photographer and gave us a discount, $800. We sent emergency updates to our guests. New location, same date, same time. We didn't explain why. We just said, change of plans. The new total cost was $9,400. We still had the $18,000 in savings, minus the $9,550 we'd lost in non-refundable deposits to the original vendors. We could make it work. But I was exhausted. Bone-deep, soul-tired, exhausted. I showed up to school every day and smiled at my students and taught long division and helped Marcus sound out metamorphosis and praise Sophia's volcano project. But inside, I was hollow. On March 29th, a Tuesday, Mom showed up at Willow Creek Elementary at 11:50 a.m. I was walking my students to the cafeteria when I saw her standing in the hallway outside my classroom. She was wearing her church outfit, navy blazer, pearls, the look that said, "Respectable widow." Mrs. Ramirez was standing next to her. So were 2 other teachers. So was Ms. Linda Cole, a parent volunteer who knew my mother from their book club. "Emily," Mom said loudly as I approached, "we need to talk about your mental health." Every student in my line turned to look. Marcus's eyes went wide. Sophia grabbed my hand. "Not now," I said quietly. "I'm working." "This can't wait." She stepped forward. "Mrs. Ramirez, I'm Emily's mother, and I'm very concerned about her recent behavior. She's been making irrational decisions. canceling important commitments, accusing people of things that aren't true. I think she needs professional help, and I don't think she should be in charge of children right now. My vision tunneled. Mrs. Ramirez's face went carefully neutral. Mrs. Harper, she said, this isn't the appropriate time or place. When is the appropriate time? Mom's voice broke, perfectly performed. When she has a breakdown in front of her students? I'm trying to prevent that. She turned to me. Her eyes were dry, but her voice trembled. Sweetheart, I love you, but you're not well. You haven't been since your father died. I've tried to help, but you won't listen to me. Maybe you'll listen to a professional. I stood there, didn't defend myself, didn't cry, didn't react. Something inside me clicked into place, something cold and hard and final. I need to take my students to lunch, I said. Mom's face flickered, just for a second, with something that looked like frustration. Emily? I'm at work, Mom. Please leave. Mrs. Ramirez touched my mother's elbow. Mrs. Harper, I'm going to have to ask you to step outside. We can schedule a meeting to discuss your concerns through the proper channels. Mom left. But the damage was done. I could feel the stares from the other teachers. Ms. Cole's pitying expression. The way my students suddenly looked at me like I might break. I taught the rest of the day on autopilot. At 3:30 p.m., Mrs. Ramirez called me to her office. I don't believe what your mother said, she told me, but I do need to ask, are you okay? Is there anything going on that I should know about? My mother is sabotaging my wedding because she doesn't want me to get married, I said. My voice was flat. She's been spreading rumors that I'm mentally unstable so no one will believe me. That's what's going on. Mrs. Ramirez studied my face. That's a serious situation. I know. Do you have proof? I'm working on it. She nodded slowly. Okay. For now, I'm noting that you're handling your classroom responsibilities perfectly. Your students are thriving. Your lesson plans are solid. If anyone questions your fitness to teach, I'll have documentation to back you up. I almost cried. Thank you. That night, I was going through a box of my dad's things I'd kept in my closet. His old watch, his favorite coffee mug, a stack of birthday cards he'd given me over the years, and at the bottom, an envelope I'd never seen before. It was addressed to me in Dad's handwriting, but it had never been opened. The seal was still intact. My hands trembled as I tore it open. Inside was a single piece of paper, a photocopy of a handwritten note. Emmy. If you're reading this, something's gone wrong and I'm not there to fix it. I've left specific instructions with Ray Watkins, my attorney, not your Uncle Ray, different Ray. His office is at 1847 Oakmont Boulevard, Suite 12. He has the original documents. Your mother doesn't know about this. Don't tell her. Wait for the right moment. You're stronger than you think. Dad. My breath caught. I read it 3 times. 1847 Oakmont Boulevard, Suite 12, Ray Watkins. I looked up the address. It was a law office in downtown Austin, 40 minutes away. I called the next morning during my planning period. Law offices of Raymond Watkins, a receptionist answered. Hi, I'm Emily Harper. I think my father left something with Mr. Watkins. His name was Robert Harper. He passed away 6 years ago. A pause. Then, can you come in tomorrow at 4 p.m.? Mr. Watkins has been expecting you. Expecting me? He's been expecting you for 6 years, Miss Harper. Your father left very specific instructions. I went. I told Jake I had a dentist appointment and drove to Austin on March 31st. The law office was in an old brick building with green awnings. Raymond Watkins was in his 70s, silver hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Your father was a good man, he said as he shook my hand. Sit down, Emily. We have a lot to discuss. He handed me a sealed manila envelope. Thick, heavy. Your father came to me 8 years ago, 2 years before he died. He wanted to make sure you were protected if anything happened to him. He didn't trust your mother with his estate. He knew she'd manipulate the will, hide assets, control you financially. I stared at the envelope. So he created a second will, Mr. Watkins continued. A legal, binding, properly witnessed will that supersedes the one your mother probated. He left everything to you in a trust that she can't touch. The cabin, his life insurance payout, $340,000, his retirement accounts, $186,000, and documented evidence of her financial mismanagement during their marriage. My hands went numb. He also left you a letter. I haven't read it. That's between you and him. I opened the envelope with shaking fingers. Inside were legal documents, bank statements, and one handwritten letter on yellow-lined paper. Dear Emmy, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and your mother is already doing what I knew she would do. I'm sorry I couldn't stop this while I was alive. I tried to talk to her, tried to get her to see a counselor, tried to make her understand that love isn't control, but she doesn't hear reason. She only hears documents. Do you remember the day we sorted Christmas decorations in the garage? I told you not to let anyone shrink you. I meant your mother. I knew she'd try to make you small, manageable, dependent. I knew she'd use grief and guilt and manipulation to keep you close. I knew she'd sabotage anything that took you away from her influence. The original will is with Ray Watkins. This letter is just a copy to prove I'm telling the truth. Inside this envelope you'll find the legal trust documents naming you as sole beneficiary, bank statements showing the $340,000 life insurance payout your mother claimed went to estate taxes. It didn't. The deed to Crystal Lake Cabin, which she sold illegally, the property was in the trust. Documented evidence of her opening credit cards in my name after I died. Witness statements from 3 people who heard her say she'd never let you marry and leave her alone. Don't show this to anyone yet. Not Ray, your uncle, not even Jake. Wait until she pushes you far enough that you're ready to push back. Ray Watkins will know what to do. He's been waiting for your call. You are not broken, unstable, or incapable. No matter what she tells you, you are brilliant and kind and strong enough to teach 22 children every day while carrying grief she'll never understand. I'm sorry I'm not there to walk you down the aisle, but I'll be there anyway. Look for the snow globe. All my love, little star. Dad. I sat in that office and cried for 10 straight minutes. Mr. Watkins handed me tissues and waited. What do? I finally asked. You wait, he said. Your father knew your mother would escalate. He knew she'd push until you had no choice but to fight back. When that moment comes, you call me. We file the revised will with the probate court. We present the evidence of her fraud. We reverse the cabin sale and reclaim the insurance money. We make sure she faces legal consequences for forgery and theft. When should I call? He smiled, sad but certain. You'll know. I drove home in a daze. I didn't tell Jake yet. I needed to think. April came. The wedding was 12 days away. Jake and I finalized details for Bluebonnet Grove Ranch. His Aunt Margie was incredible. She spent 3 days stringing lights through the oak trees, planting extra wildflowers, setting up picnic tables. We were going to make this work. On April 10th, 1 week before the wedding, Mom called me. I'd like to come to the wedding, she said. I almost dropped the phone. What? I'm your mother, Emily. Despite everything, I want to be there for you. You sabotaged my wedding, Mom. You told people I was mentally ill. You showed up at my job and humiliated me in front of my students. I was concerned about you. I still am. But if you're determined to go through with this, I should be there. I'm the mother of the bride. No. Silence. Then her voice went cold. No? You're not invited. Emily, you don't mean that. I do. You're not welcome at my wedding. Don't come. She hung up without another word. I should have known that wouldn't be the end of it. April 17th. Wedding day. The weather was perfect. 74 degrees, cloudless sky, wildflowers in full bloom across Bluebonnet Grove Ranch. Jake's Aunt Margie had outdone herself. String lights hung like stars between the oak trees. White chairs were set up in rows on the grass. The barbecue caterer had brisket smoking, and the smell was incredible. 197 guests, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, Jake's enormous family, my students' parents, my colleagues from Willow Creek. Mrs. Ramirez came, even Mrs. Thompson. I was in the ranch house getting ready at 2 p.m. Ceremony started at 4. My bridesmaids were with me. My hair was done, my makeup was perfect, my dress fit like it was made for me. On the vanity in front of me was the snow globe from my father's garage. The tiny schoolhouse inside caught the light. Jake's cousin Amy, the photographer, was snapping pictures when someone knocked on the door. "Emily?" It was Margie, Jake's aunt. She sounded tense. "We have a situation." I opened the door. Margie's face was pale. "Your mother is here," she said. "She's at the front gate with a camera crew." My stomach dropped. "What?" "She showed up in a limousine with 2 people carrying cameras. She's telling the security guy that she's the mother of the bride and she has every right to be here. She's saying you're mentally unstable and you've been manipulated into excluding her. The cameras are recording everything." I grabbed my phone and called Mr. Watkins. He answered on the second ring. "It's time," I said. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't let her in. Don't engage. I'll handle it." I walked to the front gate in my wedding dress. My bridesmaids followed. The guests were starting to notice something was wrong. My mother was standing outside the iron gate in a cream-colored suit, mother of the bride attire. A man with a professional camera was filming. A woman with a microphone was standing next to her. "Emily," Mom called when she saw me. Her voice was wounded, tragic. "Sweetheart, please. I'm your mother. I just want to see you get married." The camera swung to me. I kept my face calm. "You're not invited, Mom. Please leave." "This is what I'm talking about," she said to the camera. "She's been completely turned against me. Her father's death traumatized her and she's never recovered. She needs help, not a wedding." The security guard, one of Margie's ranch hands, a man named Tom who was 6'4" and built like a wall, looked at me. I nodded. He didn't open the gate. A car pulled up. Mr. Watkins stepped out, holding a briefcase. "Mrs. Karen Harper?" he said. Mom's face flickered. "Who are you?" "Raymond Watkins, attorney for the estate of Robert Harper. I have several documents you're going to want to see before you continue this performance." The camera was still rolling. Mr. Watkins opened his briefcase and pulled out a folder. "This is the revised will of Robert Harper, properly executed and witnessed on June 14th, 8 years ago. It names his daughter, Emily Harper, as the sole beneficiary of his estate, including $340,000 in life insurance, $186,000 in retirement accounts, and the property known as Crystal Lake Cabin." Mom's face went white. "You sold the cabin," Mr. Watkins continued. "A property that was not legally yours to sell. You also claimed the life insurance payout went to estate taxes. It didn't. You deposited it into your personal account and spent $287,000 of it over 6 years. The camera operator stepped closer. "This is absurd," Mom said. "I'm his widow. Everything was mine. This is the probate court stamp from the revised will filing." Mr. Watkins held up the document. "Filed yesterday. Also included, evidence that you opened 3 credit cards in Mr. Harper's name after his death, accumulating $34,000 in fraudulent charges. Evidence that you canceled your daughter's wedding vendors by impersonating her. Phone records show calls made from your cell phone number to Rosewood Gardens venue, Bella's Catering, and Hartman Photography, all claiming to be Emily Harper. And witness statements from Linda Cole, Reverend Matthews, and your sister Patricia, confirming that you stated, and I quote, 'I'll never let her marry and leave me alone.'" Mom's mouth opened. No sound came out. Jake appeared next to me holding my hand. Uncle Ray was walking up the driveway. He'd been a guest, sitting in the 3rd row. He stopped when he saw the scene at the gate. You lied to me, he said to Mom. His voice was rough. You told me Emmy canceled her own wedding. You told me she was having a breakdown. She was. She is. She's standing right there in her wedding dress, Ray, looking perfectly stable while you fall apart. Uncle Ray shook his head. Bob told me before he died that you'd do this. He told me you'd try to control her. I didn't believe him. I'm sorry, Emmy. I should have believed him. One of the guests, Jake's mother, called out from the seated area. Can we get this started? It's 3:47, and I'd really like to see these two get married. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Supportive, warm laughter. Mr. Watkins looked at my mother. You have two choices, Mrs. Harper. You can leave now, quietly, and we'll deal with the legal issues Monday morning in court. Or you can stay and be escorted off by police for trespassing, and I'll submit this footage as additional evidence of harassment. The camera was still rolling. The woman with the microphone looked uncomfortable. Mom stared at me. I stared back. You're making a mistake, she said. Her voice was shaking now, the mask cracking. You need me, Emily. You've always needed me. No, I said quietly. I needed my dad. You just made sure I'd never forget what it felt like to lose him. She got back in the limousine. The camera crew followed. The car pulled away. Uncle Ray hugged me. Your dad would be so proud. The ceremony started at 4:03 p.m. Uncle Ray walked me down the aisle. Jake cried when he saw me. I cried when I saw him. We said our vows under an oak tree older than both of us, and when the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," 197 people cheered. During the reception, while Jake and I were cutting the cake, a simple two-tier vanilla buttercream from a local bakery, I looked up and saw a flash of light in the oak tree branches. A reflection. I walked closer. Someone had tied the snow globe from my father's garage to one of the low branches. It spun slowly in the breeze, catching the sunset, the tiny schoolhouse inside glowing gold. I don't know who put it there. Margie swore it wasn't her. Jake didn't know. It doesn't matter. Dad was there. The legal aftermath took 4 months. Mr. Watkins filed the revised will. The probate court reversed the cabin sale. The buyer had to return the property, and Mom had to return the $127,000 plus 6 years of appreciation value. She didn't have it. She had to sell her house to pay it back. The life insurance money and retirement accounts were transferred to my name, $526,000 total. I put most of it in a trust for my future kids' education. I used $50,000 to pay off my student loans and Jake's. I donated $15,000 to Willow Creek Elementary's supply budget. The district attorney filed charges for identity theft and fraud related to the credit cards and the wedding vendor cancellations. Mom pleaded guilty to avoid trial. She got 3 years probation, 200 hours community service, and a restraining order preventing her from contacting me. Uncle Ray apologized 17 times. I forgave him on the 3rd. He's been to our house for dinner every Sunday since. I'm 29 now. Jake and I live in a small house with a blue door and a garden that I'm terrible at maintaining, but keep trying anyway. We have a cat named Comet, after the snow globe. I'm still teaching 3rd grade. This year, I have Marcus's little sister in my class. She brings me dandelions, too. Mom sends letters sometimes. The restraining order expired last year, but I haven't responded. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. I don't owe her forgiveness, and I don't owe her silence about what she did. The snow globe sits on my desk at school. When my students ask about it, I tell them it was my dad's. I tell them he was a good man who taught me that love doesn't shrink people. It helps them grow. If you're watching this and you've ever had someone in your life who confused control with care, who made you feel small so they could feel necessary, type "I see clearly now" in the comments. Or if you're still figuring out how to set boundaries with someone who insists they're doing everything out of love, type "I'm learning." Both are valid. Both take courage. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Thank you for being here. Happy spring, wherever you are.